Naomi, Osaka, Eala, and one practice court. The entire tennis world is officially losing it. A four-time Grand Slam champ and the Filipino sensation spotted training in Mallorca. Fans can't stop talking about what happened next. It is not just about who they are, it is about what they represent. Two mothers, two champions, two women who stared down pressure and refused to break. The tennis world usually sees rivals battle, but this is something else. Something the sport has never seen before. Mallorca, Spain, April 26th, 2026. The sun hangs low over the Rafa Nadal Academy. Shadows stretch across the clay courts where champions are forged. On Court 7, not the grand show courts, with stadium seating and cameras, something unexpected was unfolding. Naomi Osaka, the four-time Grand Slam champ and former world number one who just announced her return to form in Madrid, was out there hitting with Eala. Not across the net as rivals, but side by side, laughing between rallies and swapping tips like old friends. This high-level practice session wasn't advertised at all. No press releases, no social media teasers, and no carefully orchestrated photo opportunities. Just two elite athletes and mothers who have carried the weight of nations, sharing a court on a quiet Sunday afternoon in Mallorca. But people noticed. Within hours, photos and clips started blowing up all over social media. Osaka, in her signature purple kit, ran drills with Eala in her trademark bright orange. The two focused on practicing their cross-court forehands together. They switched to backhands. Then Osaka pointed to a specific footwork pattern on the court, a positioning adjustment. Eala was nodding, absorbing, and learning. The tennis world took notice immediately. Naomi Osaka practicing with Eala is definitely not something I had on my bingo card, one fan posted. Two queens, two mothers, two champions. This is the mentorship we need, wrote another. Osaka teaching Eala how to handle the pressure? Yes, please. Sign me up. But what happened next, the conversation, the bond, and the implications for the future of women's tennis, has fans even more hyped. This wasn't just practice, it was a passing of the torch, a recognition between two women who understand this journey in ways few others can. The Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca isn't just your average training facility. It's where Eala has trained since she was 13. A scholarship student who left her family and country to chase an impossible dream. It's where Rafael Nadal himself still shows up, offering wisdom to the next generation of players. And in November 2025, Naomi Osaka chose this spot to prepare for the 2026 season. But why Mallorca? Why would a four-time Grand Slam champion, with access to every elite facility on Earth, choose to base herself at an academy in the Spanish islands? The answer is simpler than you think. Osaka always prioritizes environments where she can focus on what really matters. Her tennis, her family, her peace of mind. The Rafa Nadal Academy offers exactly that. World-class facilities and a supportive atmosphere, far from the glare of the tennis paparazzi. It's where she can train without the usual circus. She can bring her daughter Shai and live a somewhat normal life between major tournaments. And on April 26th, 2026, she found herself on the same practice court as Eala. The timing was perfect. Just days earlier, on April 22nd and 24th, Eala had competed at the Madrid Open. She broke her recent curse with a victory over Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova before falling in the second round. Instead of heading straight to Barcelona for the WTA 125 Catalonia Open, she made a decision that surprised everyone. She withdrew from the Spanish Challenger event entirely. I think it's a strategic move to focus on preparing for the bigger tournaments, one analyst noted. The Italian Open in Rome is a WTA 1000, one of the biggest events after the slams. She wants to be ready. And who better to prepare with than Naomi Osaka? The two had met briefly at tournaments before, but this was different. This was intentional. Osaka was choosing to spend her time with the 20-year-old Filipina who was recently compared to her by former ATP pros on the Nothing Major podcast. She is a superstar simply because of where she is from, Isner said on the podcast, marveling at Eala's ability to fill stadiums without a major title yet. It could be coming. On that practice court in Mallorca, Osaka clearly seemed to agree. She was taking action. The videos emerging showed way more than just two stars hitting tennis balls. They showed Naomi Osaka, the woman who's won both the US Open and the Australian Open twice. She pointed to Eala's footwork, demonstrating a pattern, then watched as she improved. Insiders have identified exactly what they were likely working on: the split-step timing that lets Osaka explode into shots, and the weight transfer that generates her devastating power. Plus, the mental reset that's been Osaka's secret weapon during her comeback. But the most revealing moment came in a tiny 15-second clip. Osaka and Eala were sitting on a bench, towels around their necks and water bottles in hand. Osaka was speaking softly, too low for the cameras to hear, but her gestures were absolutely unmistakable. She was drawing something in the air with her finger, a pattern, a strategy. It was a mindset shift, far beyond simple technique. Eala listened closely, nodding, soaking it all up. Osaka shared her wisdom. Both shared a smile. That kind of mentorship can change a career, a former pro posted on social media. Osaka has seen it all: the crushing pressure, high expectations, mental health battles, and her massive comeback. She gets exactly what Eala is feeling, so she is stepping up to help. Others pointed out the timing. With Eala heading to Rome in days, this practice session is a big deal. It proves Osaka sees real talent in the Filipina star. You do not pause your own training to help someone unless you truly believe in them. Osaka is at a turning point, fighting her way back to the top 10. Every minute on court counts, and she is spending those minutes with Eala. That is a big deal. Eala's coach, Joan Bosch, watched every single move from the sidelines. Insiders say the teams were swapping notes and discussing drills, even planning more joint sessions down the road. Tennis fans love a good rivalry. Collaboration is rare, but that is exactly what went down in Mallorca. But here is where things get uncomfortable for Eala. The Naomi Osaka comparisons just will not stop. It blew up after a podcast where John Isner and Sam Querrey linked the two stars together. It is just like Osaka, Isner noted, highlighting that both athletes have massive markets backing them. Japan for Osaka, the Philippines for Eala. That hype fuels their fame beyond just the box scores. The connection is pretty obvious. Both are young Asian women shaking up a sport that is usually dominated by Europe and North America. They are cultural icons back home, reaching a level of fame that few athletes ever touch. Both deal with massive pressure from fans expecting wins before they have even peaked. But Eala hates the comparison. "I am my own player," she insists whenever reporters bring up Osaka or Lina. "I respect the path they blazed. I learn from them, but I am definitely not trying to be anyone else." In reality, their differences are just as important as the things they share. Osaka grabbed her first Grand Slam title at 20 years old, the exact same age Eala is today. She stormed past Serena Williams in that wild 2018 US Open final, then backed it up with an Australian Open win. By 21, Osaka was a two-time champion and world number 1. Eala, at the same age, is still hunting for her first big title. She has knocked off top 10 stars like Iga Swiatek and Coco Gauff. She has made deep runs, but that final breakthrough remains elusive. Osaka's path was an explosion of early success followed by deep battles with mental health and burnout. She eventually stepped away from the court to focus on becoming a mother. Eala's rise has been a patient, steady climb. She is earning her rank through experience and grit, taking zero shortcuts. Maybe that is why Mallorca mattered so much. Osaka knows the weight of having the world expect greatness before you are ready. She understands the lonely climb. Sometimes, the best advice is not about footwork, it is just admitting that the grind is hard, and that is okay. This session was not just about today, it was about the future. The Italian Open starts May 5th, 2026. We are just days away. Both Osaka and Eala are in a massive 96-player field, featuring the absolute biggest names in women's tennis. Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, Coco Gauff, and Emma Raducanu are all waiting in the wings. For Eala, Rome is the chance to keep the Madrid momentum alive. The curse is broken, the wins are coming, and her confidence is back. For Osaka, Rome is the next chapter of her comeback. She needs to prove Madrid was no fluke and that she can still dominate and compete with the best on clay. But that Mallorca session hints at something deeper. A real partnership, a powerful alliance between two stars. They could support each other through a brutal clay season. But what happened right after practice is what really grabbed everyone's attention. Sources close to the players say the conversation did not stop once they left the court. A dinner in Palma, deep talks about training, and swapping numbers. This was way more than just being polite. People are already wondering if Osaka is looking at Eala as a doubles partner for the next tour stops. Others think it is pure mentorship. Osaka is taking the youngster under her wing, just like the Williams sisters once did for her. Naomi has always been generous with her time. She remembers being the young player with eyes on her, and she wants to help. She wants to pave the way for the next generation. Eala, as usual, has stayed incredibly humble about the whole experience. Naomi is amazing, she told Philippine media. She has been through so much and is still fighting hard. I have so much respect for her. Anytime I get on court with her is a blessing. But the tennis world sees what is really happening. Two players from different worlds finding common ground on a clay court in Mallorca. This might be the most compelling story of the 2026 clay season. So, what is next for Eala? The Italian Open in Rome is her next massive test. It is a chance to compete on the world stage against the elite on her favorite surface, the red clay. Osaka will be there too, in the same bracket. They are on a collision course. What happens if they actually meet on the court? What happens when partners turn into opponents, mentors become rivals, and friends end up fighting for the exact same prize? Eala has considered this. She touched on it during a recent interview. She noted she can learn from anyone, even future rivals. On court, it is competition, but off court, it is respect. Those two things do not have to clash. Naomi Osaka seems to share that exact same philosophy. After battling through mental health struggles and pro-tennis pressure, she has emerged with a clearer view of what matters. Trophies and rankings are important, sure, but the human connections and deep friendships matter too. Shared humanity matters just as much. That Mallorca session was only a few hours long, but the image of Osaka and Eala working and laughing side by side will linger. Two champions, two powerful women who know the weight of carrying a nation's hopes. The tennis world is watching closely as things heat up in Rome. From Paris to the years ahead, time will tell if this was just a moment or a friendship that changes the sport. What is your take? Is the bond between Osaka and Eala the start of something legendary, or just two rivals passing in the night? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe to Court Legacy for more stories that go way beyond the final score. Naomi Osaka and Eala were spotted training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, and the tennis world is buzzing. The four-time Grand Slam champ and the 20-year-old Filipino sensation shared a court, traded tips, and kept the conversation going. Both players are now gearing up for the Italian Open in Rome, where they might collide in one of the clay season's biggest matches. Former pros are comparing Eala's rise to Osaka's early career, noting that both stars bring massive fan bases from their home countries. But on this day in Mallorca, they were not rivals. They were teammates, and that might be the biggest story of all.